Hello and welcome to today's No FOMO Charts Technical Analysis Charts live stream for stocks and crypto. Today is March 6th, 2023. It's Monday, actually today stream. It's about 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let's go and get started. Hello and welcome everybody to the stream. I'm streaming live on TradingView, YouTube, and Twitch right now. We also have a Discord group. Just some stock earnings volatility list and some economic data releases before we jump right into the charts. So this week for USA earnings, we have TCOM, WW International, DKS, CrowdStrike, DOLE, Squarespace, Campbell Soup, Ulta Beauty, DocuSign, El Pollo Loco Restaurant, GPS or Gap Store, FuelCell, and JD.com. And there's more companies as always. In terms of economic data, we have Fed Chair Powell is testifying before Congress on monetary policy this week. That's 2 days. That's probably the biggest economic data in terms of press coverage. One of the biggest that we're going to get this week. Just a little bit more insight into what's going on with the interest rate hikes, mindset, and plan. We also have non-farm employment change data, job openings, 10-year bond auction, unemployment claims, average hourly earnings, non-farm employment change, and I wrote that twice, and the unemployment rate. More data as well. All right, we also have the Apple press conference, the investor conference on Friday, so that'll give a little bit of insight of what's going on with Apple. All right, let's go ahead and get started here. So Dow Jones, DIA, we're going sideways right now on the daily chart, going sideways. And we had this nice support bounce right at the circle, right? Support bounce. Now we're trading in this range, going sideways. And when we're going sideways, it's all about the support plays. Now, this could have turned into a bearish M, and that would have confirmed our downside target, but we happened to bounce. We did have a shooting star today on the daily. Let's take a quick look at the weekly. Still consolidating within this structure. In terms of 4-hour, we're starting to see it's not quite super overbought yet. We'll bring up some of these EMAs. We're resting above that 200 EMA, so there was this bullish bounce last time, but now the hourly is starting to show a little bit of signs of fatigue. Now we're going to find rest above these support levels, about 333 area and 334 area. So that's kind of this blue dot is the support level for the Dow Jones. We could get the 15-minute is up cross, so we could get a little bit of a day trading bounce going on. But in terms of swing trading, I'm starting to exercise just a little bit of caution because, again, we're at a relative high or medium point, whereas at the beginning of March, we're at a relative low support point. That's why it's kind of suspicious right now. The daily is still in that middle half heart line going sideways. So you could see that just visually on the price, the market is basically split in terms of people who think inflation is going to come down fast versus people who think we're going to go into recession. Bulls versus the bears mindset. Okay, let's go to SPY. S&P 500 is very similar, except this time we have the support play. Remember my star from last time. Remember my star from last stream saying this could be our potential support area. I even marked it with this blue line, the horizontal blue line, and put the star, meaning we could bounce off of that point because that could be our low, relative low for the bounce. Now we bounced to resistance at 406.55, and we did pull back and sell off a little bit because of some market data as well as just day traders taking profit before the Fed Chair Powell testifying before Congress tomorrow, basically. So if we look at our weekly, It did have a nice bounce off of that 100 EMA, but it could set a lower high on this weekly. And if news is very bearish this week and data, you could pull back significantly over time. Now, on the 4-hour, very similar to the Dow Jones, what we just saw, we're starting to see a little bit of momentum loss on this MACD histogram down here, but it's not quite overbought in the RSI range. And the hourly is we're just starting to hover above that support level. We could get another bounce leg up attempt. So I'm not going to push into that too much. 15-minute is not that oversold, although we get a little bit of momentum for the day traders. Get to see what happens overnight here. But in terms of daily, we do have a shooting star confirmed on the daily chart. Yes, there is momentum building, but I wouldn't be surprised if we actually pull back over time and then start to fight again in here in terms of the price. Excuse me. In terms of that price, because we can see on the actual data that it's going kind of stuck in this broadening wedge. It's still golden cross on the daily, so it's not over until we pull back heavily below the EMAs, the 200 EMAs down here. All right, let's go to QQQ, NASDAQ. NASDAQ is very similar in the fact that, again, shooting star, we hit a resistance level. We actually had a gap resistance right above 303, pulling back. Now, if we look at the weekly, we can see potential lower high being set, potential. There is that up cross on the shorter term EMAs. But, the way the market is right now is if we don't have a significant up bounce rally, there could be a fade incoming, meaning that if we don't really start uptrending soon, get real direction in the market, probably momentum is going to be lost and we might get something like this, right? You get this gap up. It's not quite the same, but the feeling is the same. We consolidate, you kind of hold support, you bounce up, you fail, and then you crash down. So we had this nice rally. We started fading down. We're bouncing off support. So now this is a critical range in the fact that if we don't hold this higher low or this support at 288, it could confirm the downtrend, low, high, lower high, and we could get one more lower low just to ride it down to the downside, the 50% Fibonacci retrace at 287. Something to just watch out for. All right, let me check chat. I'm streaming on a different day today, like I said at the end of last stream. All right, not seeing any comments. Okay, so let's move on to GLD very quickly. All assets kind of moving in tandem right now. We're on the gold daily. We can see this going low, high, low, high, low, higher, high, higher, low, higher, high. Try to establish the higher low, but you can see right here the 171 support and the 169 support as well. We did have this descending wedge breakout, basically, with the gaps on this ETF, but you can see here on the weekly chart that still this could be our lower high, and this might not be the final lower high for gold because that's pretty low. It should have bounced maybe a little bit more to 176 area, but again, the support that I'm staring at is 168.50. Hopefully that does not break to the downside. Now on the 4-hour, we can also see a more polished structure occurring, so we could definitely just pull back a little bit more to 171 and then try to bounce up to 173. That is the price action that we're staring at, that I'm looking at here. We do have several gaps. This will be a good time to kind of test the indicator. TradingView has a gaps indicator. So if you put it on the chart, it does show the gaps. I'm going to have to change it to a different color. Gaps meaning on certain stocks and ETFs where there is a physical gap in the price because of overnight trading, the stock market closes and reopens. So sometimes the price jumps up, it gaps up, or it falls down, jumps down, and gap down. So for the purpose of this example, I will just make it my bright colors. and just make it 100% opacity to really box that in. I'm just gonna leave all the settings as a default. But you can see in the purple and the sky blue, the pink and sky blue, it highlights the gaps for you. It's very useful on stocks and ETFs. It's a pretty good indicator. Before, there are other community-made indicators, but that's a pretty good one. Sometimes I use that one if there are a lot of gaps on the chart, because then it's easier to find your support and resistance levels. Like we could see one on the pink here, resistance. This is support, 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 and you just draw it, etc. Like in the yellow, like this. Instead of drawing, you can also just Alt-H. I like that shortcut. It's horizontal line shortcut key. Alt-H to get that boxed in. And also this particular, now it's getting really messy, but in terms of this particular price action, might have to make it a line so you can see, right? It is kind of following the S&P 500. It's very interesting. All right, let's move on to silver. SLV, hello, welcome everybody to the stream. Really appreciate it. So SLV, we did have this pullback down as well. Now we're below these 200 EMAs and the short-term EMAs here, below 20 and 19. So that's not the greatest price action that you want to see. We can also note that previously we had the support play going sideways, the gap down, start to downtrend. Now we hit that little bit of probably bullish momentum here on this daily. Yep. On the 4 hour, not quite, a little bit up trending on that 4 hour. It's not the quite perfect setup in this moment in time, but the daily is certainly setting up. So I could see one more pullback occurring somewhere in the shorter term, like a rally up and a pullback, kind of moving up and down before it starts to settle, and then the daily might actually hopefully try to grow bullish. Sometimes these daily setups take quite a while to work out, and we could actually end up crashing, and then the setup will occur for the nice bounce. Let me check gold as well to see if it is setting up as well, but it's not quite the super low setup that I like. That was on February 28th example. All right, quickly, let's go to USO and UNG. So USO had a nice rally. It did not turn into the head and shoulders, bearish head and shoulders in here, with the neckline at the support level about $65. It actually rallied with the Dow Jones into the $71. So that's something that's very good to see for oil. And I did hear some people call some oil bull calls this past week, and it is starting to set up. This is a very messy chart. The weekly trying to get another rally stretch going on, but on the 4 hour you can't see this clear breakout. It's very important to highlight the support levels on the bottom side and box in the top side, because somebody could have played this in terms of when it hits that oversold, we go long at 65 and the first target is $70. Not an impossible trade. UNG, there's a nice trade on UNG. So my idea on my profile, it was close, right? We did have that 3 gap down, black crows, but then we had a very, very nice recovery rally of about like 36%. So that was a setup there in terms of when I called it, it was double bottom here, but we started to consolidate and then we lost it, but then it got super oversold on some of these 1 hour, 4 hour levels. And then we had that nice rally. So this is what I'm talking about, is kind of just waiting for that setup. Somebody could do it by using the strategy, but also the feeling in the market of, okay, how oversold are we going to get here? And combining that with the fundamentals. Sometimes, the day matters too. February 21st versus February 22nd, just one day, a price action is a huge difference in the exact setup, right? So it depends if somebody's going to get aggressive and try to get in early, or maybe chase the continuation. Well, no, I shouldn't say chase, but play the continuation play of the bounce, right? It really depends on personal strategy, and paper trading can help fine-tune, practice that strategy. Okay, let's just move on. Let's go to some tech stocks, and I'll just kind of visually do some of these. Apple, we did have a nice gap up on Apple. So again, a lot of stocks correlated right now. Apple hitting this resistance. This is the third time it's hit this resistance in the blue at about 156. So now I'm getting a little curious, a little cautious of Apple. We had that investor conference on Friday, so it's curious to know, are they going to release new information about production and products and services? But the fact that we bounced off of this support level is good. The weekly, right? But when you see a weekly gap up like that, and the week is not over, by the way. So this is not the final candle. We have to see next weekend. But unless we break above this resistance at 159, that is not very inspiring. Very similar to the QQQ. The 1 hour is up cross, so I'm just curious now if we're going to hold the support level. Our big support is this gap fill 152. So if we hold that support level here, hopefully we can hit that and try to stay and maintain above that level. Let's do some of the big tech stocks. Let's just look at a visual. Microsoft also is very similar on the daily. Let's go to Google. Google's a little bit different. We almost had that head and shoulders pull back, but it's starting to gain some momentum again. Only thing is this time the price is above that 200 EMA at $95. And somebody might be thinking this is a weekly upside down head and shoulders. Definitely possible. So the market is still mixed right now. But as long as we hold above that support level, even if it's not an upside down head and shoulders, it's still in this kind of wedge formation. Now we can see that. And now we can see why somebody played that support level right there, and the momentum starting to build on that. Now let's check Netflix. What's going on here? Netflix, a little bit different, but still, Netflix is an outlier because Netflix crashed a lot faster than a lot of stocks in 2022. So you can see the recovery here in terms of, it's already been 2 years, almost 2 years, so negative 75%, and then Netflix restored itself. But I had this X drawn here for almost a month now, as that's the general area of the downside target. I remember saying on a stream, it must have been maybe a month ago, sometime, that I drew this X as saying this is the danger resistance zone because this is the top area, and then it might short down to hit this bottom area, which is the support. So as the support now needs to hold on Netflix above $307. That's a very important, I'll erase the blue. It's very important now for the price to hold above the 308 or 309 level, because that's our level of support. You could see the EMA sideways and the trendline support. So without that, we have a golden cross as well. So if it's going to bounce, this is the perfect spot for it to bounce. If it's not, this could be catastrophic for, I shouldn't say catastrophic, but unfortunate for the stock, because that would confirm a head and shoulder. We can get one more bounce attempt, and if it really shorts down, that would be a short entry on the loss of support, education-wise. All right, let's look at Meta. There's been some news about Meta just gaining a little bit more popularity in this area. Now, the higher low, higher high, right? We just hit this resistance. Make sure this resistance is accurate. Just barely on the candle body top of the wicks. This barely, it's not the most perfect, but we did hit that lower high. We had a nice gap up on earnings, hit a resistance point, pulled back to EMA's lower high potential, and I want to see if we fade down off of this Fed news this week. If not, just let me see the breakout. Let me see it, right? Because then it could actually, the bullish case can actually rise, and then our indicators would flash a reversal signal, and then we could pull back somewhere down here in 179. That's what I'm watching out for. So now this kind of reminds me of the pandemic price action, because the pandemic, just very generally in the March 2020 on the charts is this thing pulled back a lot, down almost negative 50% on or more on some stocks. And then we just kind of clawed our way back uptrend. So if it's going to be kind of like that, where we have 1 month of basically fear on interest rate, and then it kind of subsides, and then we say, oh, it's not that bad, we're going to be fine. And then there's a month of bad news and good news, and it just kind of flip-flops and oscillates like that. Well, as long as we never fall back below our 165 levels, etc., as long as we don't start downtrending, it's kind of okay. Meaning that this is not the end of the world, price action right here. If it starts doing this, okay, that's bad. If we have a confirmed downtrend. But right now, it's still trying to hold on to that uptrend. That's the trend of a lot of stocks right now that I'm seeing. Okay, we're going to bring up this really bright list one more time, but just take a quick look at some of the stocks for this week. Just take a quick look. Look at TCOM, trip.com. All right, so in terms of the resistance, I'm just going to mark support and resistance. So resistance at $40, support at $35. Let's see what the earnings is. It's not real. It is in a golden cross, but we'll see what their earnings are in terms of the travel. This is 3 months ago data as well. So let's just see how it goes in terms of the play. But support somewhere down here at 34. There's another support way down here if it's really bad at 30.19 as well. Okay, let's go to CrowdStrike. We might hear some news about that. Now, CrowdStrike is different in that in early 2023, we hit this low, basically upside down head and shoulders, and started to uptrend as well. But now it's at the highest price of 2023. We could have an additional target here at 145. That's 200 EMA, and the bottom side support level would be about 113.75 pending earnings. And we could see the trend line support on the downside and the trend line resistance on the top side. So we just watch out for that. DOLE, a very famous food company. DOLE here. We have this nice golden up cross on the beginning of February 2023. Very nice. Very nice. We do have this secret support trend line down here that has been surpassed by the EMAs. So I just want to draw that there if anybody's trying to look at this company. So you can see that it is in an uptrend right now. This is an uptrend reversal. Now the question is it going to sustain and last for 1 year? Or are we going to fake out and actually drop back down to about $10 on this thing, on this stock? 10, 11, 12. This is kind of easy. $13 is that support and resistance level. The big name, let's go to Campbell Soup. Now, Campbell Soup, in terms of right now, in terms of USA, some states are ending the emergency status of COVID-19, meaning that the government is aware that COVID-19, the virus still exists in the country, in states and cities in the USA, except it might not be such an emergency anymore like it was compared to 3 years ago when it first happened, when we had no vaccine, etc. So that has some relationship with the Campbell Soup because are people stocking up on canned foods as much as they used to? That's, companies, not just Campbell Soup, but almost every company has been affected by the supply and demand effect of COVID-19, what it had on very terrible, right? So that might be something we watching out for because there is this head and shoulders that exists. It is an uptrend, so it's again mixed, and it's not going to confirm until we lose that neckline support on the downside of $50. So that's what I'm watching. $50 support, resistance 54, and then resistance at 57 as well. If it confirms if they have terrible earnings, it could crash 5 to 10% to the downside, which would take us down to 47 and also 44. So just boxing in like that. ULTA Beauty. Ulta Beauty, you kind of hear it in the news, and had a nice run from October last year to March of this year. Now it's getting, we did have that triple top up here. I would watch out for this stock. I'm not trying to predict the earnings, but Ulta Beauty is actually kind of in this overbought range, just barely. It's kind of a little high in the sky for me, I like to call it. When it gets really high in the sky like that, it might pull back a little bit. So just something to watch out for. And we did actually lose this trend line. You might want to watch out for this one. Not predicting the earnings, but if it's really bad support, earnings could be at 44, and it would be interesting to see a breakout above 537 on this stock. Let's do two more. Let's do Gap. It's a clothing store, or GPS. Gap clothing store. Now, immediately what I see is there's resistance in the price right here, $15, right? Exactly. We have support at 1085 zone. This reminds me of the Dow Jones. There is another support level trend line right here, right? Like this. So it's like bounce, bounce. And we just lost that. So want to watch out for this one. In terms of next level support, probably about 1156. 1156 right there, and 1082. It's important because if, you know, I'm not recommending anybody to trade or even force anybody to look at these charts. Some of these are just educational. It's just what's about to happen and what's happening right now on the charts. Fuel Cell, we'll do this last one. Fuel Cell, a very tradable stock in the past, but now it has more utility in terms of the company with these electric vehicles and whatnot. So we could draw this. Now there's still a descending wedge. Somebody could say this could be a potential upside down bullish inverse head and shoulders. So upside down head and shoulders. Maybe it's possible. Boxing the price even more. You can see a little bit of this, just barely a little tiny symmetrical triangle forming, just a little bit, trying to establish a higher low price. So you can see if it's really bad, the support right here at 243 could short that down, and the resistance at 445 up here. So I'm just watching these two levels for the break in terms of a big move. All right, if you have any stock requests, go ahead and just let me know right now before we move on to crypto, and then we can close out the stream after the crypto and crypto request section. And just refresh the chat here. If nobody has any requests, we can just move on. Hello. If you have a request for a stock chart or a analysis, please let me know. I'll just wait a few more moments here, because I know sometimes the chat on the stream is a little bit delayed for people. All right, while I'm waiting, let's just quickly go down rapid fire, just a lot of these stocks. See if we see anything interesting. So as we're going rapid fire, you can see the VIX at a support level. Many of the indexes look the same. DXY, for example, had a nice bullish reversal in the breakout here, right? We did hit this resistance level and starting to pull back a little bit on DXY. So this one's going to be intraday, but it just lost that. You could see it just lost it. So it's something you want to watch out for there. Okay, somebody has a request on TradingView. Did you have the risk reward, or do you want me to just look at the stock chart itself, just for general analysis? Let's keep going here. A lot of my futures charts. Double top on cryptocurrency. Treasury notes kind of it's nearing a support zone, especially the 2-year T note is right there at support. Right there at support. You can see I have a lot of stocks I look at. Take a quick look at just some of these right, Pfizer kind of just lost that support level. Moderna looks like a 0.88 retrace. 0.786 retrace. Merck with the bounce to the upside. Johnson & Johnson shorted all the way down. Remember on my stream, just to rewind, I think like 1 or 2 months ago, maybe a month ago, I was saying J&J, all these health stocks might get shorted down, and then it's shorted down a lot. So, sometimes just hopping into the play is okay. Depending on the strategy and setup with risk reward, obviously. Okay. Okay, there we go. So AAP, Advanced Auto Parts, Trading View Request. We do at least one stock. Is a short. This is a user request here. So entry 134. The stop loss above at 140, 170. And a target of 122 to the downside. Okay. This is 1.55. Stop loss might want to raise these a little bit because it could go $4 to $8 move. So I would, probably change that to 6% and then up this to 12%. And then you could probably adjust there. Or if you're going to leave it at 5%, then, if you leave it at 5%, then I would basically close this to about 10%. Now, what's happening here, Advanced Auto Parts, let's see, their earnings, they just had earnings, even though it was decent earnings. Let's dig a little bit. I'll do that at the end. Let's get the resistance trend line above first. So we can obviously see that AAP is downtrending. The only issue is for the short, right? At this point in time on the price, is it a relative high or is it a relative low? It's a little bit closer to the relative low zone. So this would be a short continuation play. Right? It's like if we look at this chart, for example, and where's like a little safer spot to short, it would have been these like tops up here in the blue, right? These are the tops. This is kind of a halfway point, so it's a little bit questionable if that was the perfect spot. But you could see here, it could short down, but then to hit your target down here, it would have to short down a lot. So it would have to actually fail support. Yeah, I'm anticipating the traders might try to battle it out here at 130. Unless Dow Jones suddenly crashes or New York Stock Exchange stocks start crashing, right? Or AAP itself has some very bad news. That could always happen. It's still downtrending. So, that's just kind of the risk to watch out for. But on the weekly, there was a clearer sign about a month ago. So that's why, like, this is my style, is when there's something here, then we traders would have shorted it here at 147, and they're already being in that profit zone right now. And they're probably wondering when they're going to actually close instead of open. But you seem to have a lot of, so it seems like continuation plays are your style. So, because almost all the charts you've recommended to look at have been these types of like continuations plays where something reverses and then it's about, are we going to get more downside or more upside, for example. So we do have this head and shoulders here. It's not at the top though, right? If this is like this and you had a head and shoulders up here, that would be a little bit more confident to short it from down here, from this top at 180. Now we're going a little bit, 140 on the 4 hour, 1 hour. Excuse all the background noise if you're hearing that. But the 5 minute, 15 minutes, so day traders, they might actually try to play this a little bit oversold bounce one of these days. So it could short just for for maybe the first hour of the market or something like that, and then the bulls eventually might try to recover that. So just something to watch out for is the day trading volatility could trigger one stop loss. But again, this is just my style and strategy. So, it's just one style and strategy out here. All right. Now, just to take a quick example is just to make sure people are looking at like the financials and whatnot. You kind of see here on the quarterly, the revenue is down on this blue bar chart. This is like an amazing feature from TradingView because we never used to have this. Now they even upgraded even more for financials and news. So we can even see the total assets shrunk just a little bit, as well as the liabilities. Profit margin just went up just a little bit. Let's see here. The financing, a little bit on the downtrend on those numbers. Operating cash flow a little bit up. So, they didn't have blowout earnings, so that could be also why. So hopefully that helps you kind of understand. I'm curious though. I'm curious, in case you're on TradingView, I'm just wondering for clarification, are you finding your setup solo or are you finding them from somebody else? And then I'm just curious because of the continuation play style. Like, do you know, is that your style or is somebody recommending this to you? I'm just wondering. And I mean, that would help kind of clarify things. So I hope that analysis helped you in some way. Now, just to close it out, the support levels, let's say if it does break to the downside, 136, the next level support would be 127 that I'm seeing on the chart, or 123. To visit these pandemic lows, that would be pretty, we would need to have like a complete market crash or company crash. So if anything, it's right above the 618 Fibonacci. So this could, somewhere inside of here, your profit zone could be a reversal spot actually. It could, not saying it could crash down to 120. It just really depends on the market. If we have enough bearish pressure to push it down. But if it goes down a little bit and then bounces back, that could trigger a stop loss. Okay, solo swing trader. Okay, thank you. I was just wondering. Okay, thank you so much. So hopefully that gave you a little bit of insight of this yellow line down here on the bottom of the swing trade. These are the support areas. So it's getting closer to a support area. And when it gets to a support area, sometimes it pierces to the downside and you have a large reversal depending on the market. The only thing is we're coming into the Fed chairman this week and this month with the interest rate changes. So I'm not ruling out that it can actually keep going down lower, but it has been shorted already. I'll just say it like that. XAU USD. Okay, we did gold already, but let's do it again. XAU USD. All right, so we're on the daily here, and we hit this resistance point. We also hit this support level down on the trend line down here. You can see it's basically going sideways. We had this nice double bottom here on September 2022, and the fact we rallied and it pulled back. It looks like it pulled back maybe to 236 or 382. 382 bounce on that Fibonacci right here. Now you might be wondering, okay, I'm sure you're wondering, is it going up or is it going down? So in terms of, it just bounced off of this 200 EMA. So this 1800 level is our support level. The problem is it's already been up for a long time, is what I'm saying and it's kind of, if it ever gets back up to $2,000, that can be kind of another resistance issue point up here, because this is our resistance, basically 2000 or 2000. 55 area as resistance zone. The fact that we golden crossed is good. So now what we want to see is, and if you missed the beginning of the stream, is this particular price action looks exactly like what the indexes are doing. Dow Jones and S&P 500, gold, a little bit like silver as well. We had this downtrend. Now it could pull back all the way back to 1823, maximum 1800, and then bulls are going to try to defend this, right? That's the price action we're looking for. But so there's only two scenarios. If it keeps uptrending, that can be a easy long, basically. If it, and this is not financial advice, it's educational, a potential long educational setup. And if it pulls back and doesn't go back up again, then we know, oh, okay, then it's a downtrend and the trend is lost. So that's support at 1800 and the resistance at 1859, also resistance at 1890 as well. All right, so hopefully that makes sense for you. Very close to DXY. Very close. All right, let's go to crypto. Probably end in about 20-30 minutes. We're going to go to crypto. TOTAL. TOTAL. And the gaps indicator will not really work on certain Forex cryptocurrencies because it's open 24/7 and there are rarely any gaps in the price unless the market's moving extremely fast. So sometimes the gaps indicator does not work because there are no gaps in the price. So I'm going to close that. And TOTAL, crypto market cap. Again, I am streaming live on TradingView, YouTube, and Twitch. We have a Discord group if you'd like to join. Anyone and everyone is welcome. We're trying to build a community of competent analysts, chartists, and traders. So if you like this stream, you learned something, consider following. Would be greatly appreciated. Thank you. So TOTAL, let's draw this resistance. You can see here, it's what I was warning about a little bit last stream is what actually last stream the resistance was here. So we'll draw that trend line, meaning watch out for the resistance. We did have the pullback, the rally, but now we're riding that resistance. So you can see here, what's the setup? There was that there was that bearish loss of momentum, right? MACD pulling down, price going up. All right, something is going to happen there. Weekly, we did have a little bit of that inside bar action and fading momentum on the MACD. The 4 hours. It is getting a little bit into that oversold setup, almost like this double bottom here. I'd be a little bit cautious of this though. A little bit cautious just because it's crypto and it's volatile. So I'll just play the support and resistance. We have a support right now. We did form at 981 billion and we have support at 945 billion. The next target of resistance, 1 trillion and 1.04 trillion as well. We did have a 4-hour death cross on the 50 and 200 EMA, and the 1 hour is basically literally going sideways right here. So it could be that the market is waiting actually for the Fed chairman to testify for 2 days to get a little bit more information on direction as well. This looks like somebody had a big short on somebody got out of there. Now in terms of the range, it'd be plus or minus about 1.5%. So it's really just a breakout or a breakdown play in crypto. So if it breaks down 1.5, it's 965 billion. If it's 1.01 trillion, will be that resistance. And very simply, we could just look at the loss of support or breakout of resistance on the top side. EMA, the level we don't want to really go below as bulls is 950 billion market cap. Finally, we come to Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin, the same similar action, except now we have a beautiful golden cross, which is good. So the fact that we went from $15,000 all the way to 25, that's psychological 25. Remember I was saying on stream that we need to break above 25 and stay above there and hold above there. But the fact that we have a golden cross on Bitcoin, which has not occurred for probably August 2021, so about I'll just say almost 2 years. It's almost 2 years, right? 1.5 to 2 years. So what happened at the last golden cross? Let's just take a look at that, just on the price action, right? Same thing is we had this crazy crash on the price, and then it turned into this descending wedge pattern. We had the breakout and a lot of ups and downs, ups and downs. We also had another down, but it was golden crossed, held that support on the 200 EMA, and another massive rally. And there was a lot of crypto related fundamental news. Same thing here. I can see that potentially happening on the charts. We had a massive down, massive down, and the descending wedge pattern and the breakout. So let's compare these two. What can we learn? This is the real education comparison. So how long does that take to get a significance bounce going? That was 48 days. So 50 to 100 days. So basically like 2 to 4 months, approximately. I'll just say like that, maybe average 3 months. So we're kind of 60 days into it. We're maybe halfway into this move. Now, if Bitcoin really holds above the support level, which it is holding above 21,500, that's good. Now, 23,842 is our resistance. We really need to break above high, low, high, low. If this is a higher low at 22.4K, we need a bounce up. We need a strong bounce up. Let's get a FOMO rally going on, or a moon rally. Not a FOMO rally, I shouldn't say that, but a moon rally. We need the price to go up. So that's the bullish scenario. If it starts going up, then probably the price action of July to November 2021 is probably going to happen. Something like that. If it does not, and let's hypothetically pretend 25,000 is our resistance level, then this can potentially turn into a head and shoulders or consolidate like the Dow Jones, and we'll just kind of go sideways in here. So again, the break, long term, the break of 25K, let me put the star here because now it's getting real. We got one here as our resistance, and our support, I'll put it down here. So now we have two important levels that I'm watching. Basically 21,000, 25,000. We got to beat those numbers. Somebody could say, wait a second, isn't there a potential really long ascending triangle or a rising wedge or something like that? It's definitely possible. So if we look at it like this, we could definitely bounce back up to 25K. So we're at the battle zone now. This is support zone, very quiet right now. Just, I could tell traders are saying, some of them are saying, let's just wait and see what happens with the Fed Reserve. Okay, Ethereum USD. Ethereum USD is a little slightly different in terms of the resistance is a little bit more clear up here on the top side. 1700 to 1800 range. More specifically, 1750 to about $1,700 range. We need to break out above that. It is golden cross, so great. As long as we hold above, and that's why golden crosses, uptrends, is very easy. It's just, what I learned is as long as we stay up in terms of the price and it doesn't start downtrending, this is kind of okay. Consolidation is kind of okay. It's better than the price just starting to downtrend again, and most people will probably quit crypto if that happens again and crash back down. So our support levels 1542 and 1473. We're just watching those levels as well. Not the prettiest pattern, but this is where we are in history right now. It's kind of nobody really knows, like 50-50 or 60-40 or 70-30 in terms of Is somebody bullish versus bearish? It really depends. But if we measure the move, 15%. So it's not going to be real until we get the huge breakout either way. That's going to really give confidence to people. Meaning if we have huge price rally, people are going to say moon time, and then they're probably going to start longing the breakout. Although, you know, way back here was a better spot to obviously buy crypto. But, you know, if we start losing it, shorts are going to get a little bit interested in that. Now, let's try to compare the Ethereum Golden Cross from last time. Was July, August as well. That one, I still remember this area in life. There's that easy double bottom, and we had the W breakout. And we didn't really we didn't actually death cross on that one. It's just the price went below the 200 EMA. So it's a different story on Ethereum. So bullish. But here you can see as well, on this first golden cross, this is after the pandemic. This is May, June 2020, is we clawed our way back up, and then we kind of went sideways for a little bit, hesitation. And it kind of clawed our way back up again, and it's very quiet until you have the big explosion. That's what I'm saying. Crypto is quiet until it explodes. Price move wise. So it's kind of doing the same thing. It's going sideways very quietly. So if somebody wanted to put on some risk, even I might put on some risk more, right? And increase my target and just kind of leave it as an investment or leave it as a trade with the calculated risk to reward ratio. Okay. Let's move on to Binance Coin. Let me just check the comments because I never see the comments in real time on TradingView. Okay, I see that there's one more stock request. I'll probably do that at the end of the stream. Let me just quickly try to go through the rest of the cryptos, and then we could close out the stream. Thank you for watching, for requesting. BNB. Now, BNB, it's kind of an ugly chart. Binance Coin. Let us just draw a quick Fibonacci bottom to top. Right? You can see you hit that 618. The resistance here on Binance Coin, very visible. 365 to about 335. We hit that. Almost this rounding top, almost the head and shoulders. We're right at the neck. If it breaks that neckline, bearish, could go 70% to the downside, which sounds like a lot, but back to 240 where we started. Support level of 217 and $200. So $200 to 185 is basically the level we should never really go below. 340, 380, 400. 400 sounds kind of ridiculous right now because of what are the catalysts to go up in crypto right now in terms of the usual catalysts are a lot of, number one, are a lot of traders buying and trading. Is there growth in the cryptocurrency sector and in terms of the investments and the trading inflow, cash inflow? Number two, what's the regulation? We also have that the IMF Global Crypto Rules and Regulation paper coming out in September 2023. Over here, we also have the Litecoin happening, I believe, in August of this year. So it might be a little bit quiet for a while in crypto, unless you have a massive whale that's going to sell or buy. So that's what we're kind of just looking out for. Now, in terms of the price, you can see if we have an ascending triangle forming, well, if it's going to hit that support, that's 257. Let's get that star up here. That make people feel better. Let's put a heart on here. Let me get a heart. Where's the heart? Right? We got to love that support. Show a little love to the support when it shows up. If it happens, right? Because if we hit that support, bounce up, hit that support level of the heart, give it some love, buy it, and then see if it will rally. If it doesn't, it'll fail and just kind of break down out of there. But that's kind of that level that I'm watching out for, 250. All right, let's go a little faster now. I'm going to stay in this 1 hour mark. All right, so Solana, Want to watch out for once we lose 20. If we lose $20, that's not good for Solana. It's $20 to 26. That's a very large range, 30%. So 30% would come back down to $14 area. And if it bounces, that's another 30% to the upside. And we just want to watch that price very carefully. On the 4-hour, 1-hour, it's not extremely oversold. Not extremely oversold. But let's see if that almost down to that 1950 level will bounce or not. It's at a relative support level for a day trader, but for a swing trader, it's still a little bit on the high zone. We had a death cross as well. So you can kind of see it. It lost momentum. It was going up, very nice pattern, uptrend, then it went sideways. We hit the support, okay, trader's gonna buy that. Hit the resistance, okay, trader's gonna sell. Now we're at the support again. This time there's a death cross. So if we lose that support, I'm anticipating a pullback. So let me Fibonacci this. You can see that level is right below the 618, the $15, 17, and 20. Watch out for that. Cardano already with the death cross on the H4. So remember, this was like, I think it was some example of saying if I randomly buy right now, right? So we never want to quote unquote randomly buy. We want to have some kind of strategy or setup for crypto that's reproducible in terms of win rate. And you could test your strategies on the paper trading or strategy tester. Takes a little bit of coding on the strategy tester, but I'm sure most people can figure it out if you're on here on TradingView. But Cardano, right? We had this double top here. We hit this 200 EMA, the double top below 42 cents. So if it's going to reject, I'm just hands off the keyboard. Just let it reject. If it's double top and it wants to go down, let it go down. Let the shorts do their thing. 20% to the downside. And the price becomes cheaper for the bulls. 28 cents down here. It does look like, however, on an intraday, there is a potential oversold setup that's building. I would wait. I would caution to not just jump in on the first low RSI. That's a little bit of a day trading play. If you're trying to get in on a swing trade, it is downtrending right now. So just making that clear on the hourly, this thing is going down. And it's not at extreme yet. Extreme would kind of look like maybe this in February, Valentine's Day. Let me just get this hard up again. Why? Because you want to show some love to the support plays that are actually good, that actually work in the market, right? You get a little heart play up there. You get another heart support play, maybe somewhere down in the 31 cent area, right? In the 31 cent area. Right here, because it can reject down. Excuse me, could reject down into that and then bounce. A dead cross. So I want to watch out for that. Just marking that for next time. It's kind of good to use, it's kind of fun to use symbols. All right, Cardano. Rapid fire. XRP. Ignore this risk to reward. Where's the support level? 35 cents on XRP. Somewhere down here or lower. Sometimes you get a counterbody wick that deeply pierces the bottom. And then you have a reversal. So looking for a support play. AVAX. A lot of these are going to look the same. So hopefully the analysis I just gave, you can basically apply to many of these. Dogecoin also already had its crash down. 1 second. Already had its crash down. And you can kind of see that, right? 7 cents right here, 7 cents. It is stair stepping its way down. It's already dead crossed on the H4 from about February 26th. Low, high, low, rejection to the downside. Now with the support hold above 0.072 to see if we could bounce up to retest this blue line, which was our support line. It's building. The swing traders might need to wait for this on the H4. The hourly is kind of already on this upside, and it looks like it's not a big move, but it's quite a big move. 4%, give or take. Will we hit the 8%? It looks like this thing actually wants to pull back down. If on an H1 it's this high, on a 15-minute or 5-minute, it might be a little bit golden cross reversal like this, right? But is it low? It's not really low for a day trader. It's relatively high. There's a golden cross. It's trying to uptrend. SHIB, Shiba Inu. We can see this is probably a good case study for Shiba Inu in terms of price action, right? Saying that it did hit my profit target. And then what happened? There's a clear support level. So I'm going to just try to look at the price now, just to show people. Somebody might be asking, okay, in this technical analysis chart, how can we tell? We can definitely tell. For example, I'm talking about this price action right here. This is a little bit more education. This applies for everything. Stocks, ETF, crypto, Forex, etc. It's just crypto is more volatile and it's open 24/7. But in terms of the analysis, I would just do the same. We have a trend line support on the downside. This large trend line is from long time ago's resistance, and this bottom one is from long time ago's support. So we had a potential support play. It did manifest, and it went to the upside. We had the pullback. But the fact is that once we start losing the support and the momentum, this is what I'm saying, it's going up into the sky. You have one flag breakout. The measured move was there and it's completed 17%. And if it breaks out, we went 2 times the target, almost 34, almost 30%, and then we pulled back. But then you can see, is it going higher right here? It should have went higher, right? Support bounce, support fail. That's how we know. Once we lose that support, okay, X marks the spot. Once we lose that X, bad news, the bears take over. Once we have that rejection, that's double confirmed, gives more confidence to the bulls, 12% target hit. So that is, if you do enough paper trading, if you do enough strategy testing and bar replay, sometimes you see that pattern. That's how I'm able to recognize that. Just flip open the chart and you say, oh, yep, that happened. So now it's all about shorts are probably going to close at some point. This is 618 level right here that we're finding support at. So then maybe somebody might initiate a long here for educational purposes, just for the sake of 618 Fibonacci. That sometimes works just for that sake. We could get a little bit of a low, high, lower, low, right? So it's not like this is the bottom of Shiba Inu or anything, but if it happens to be that relative bottom, there is actually maybe one potential trade opportunity. It actually depends on Bitcoin as well. But that's why technical analysis, nothing is really 100% for sure. Only algorithms have, and specific strategies have more of a high profitability. Most indicators are lower than that in terms of the success rate. And if someone does no strategy, that's why people have 95% failure rate in terms of losing all their funds and money. So it's really important to have the entry stop loss, profit target, and profit target 2 for trading. Investment is a little bit different, but still, investors still need to have a stop loss. Can't have it in there forever. And have negative 90% loss on some random coin or crypto. That's not a long-term strategy either. So entry risk, this is risk management we're talking about now. Entry, stop loss, profit target 1, profit target 2. Very disciplined, not too greedy up here, not too fearful if it just comes down for 1 second or 1 day, right? You commit to it, calculate it, commit to it, and hopefully the setup is good and works in your favor. All right, I think I did enough crypto. Let's go back to stocks here. SEE. I don't know if this person's still here, but start to wrap up the stream now. Sealed Air Corporation. Sealed air, container, and packaging. They already had their earnings. The revenue surprise was actually a bit actually a lot negative. And it is in the New York Stock Exchange. Just a quick stats. It's 1 million volume. It's a relatively small stock. Market cap $7 billion. Shares float 146 million. So it has relatively low volume. I want to watch out for this one. This one could act like a cryptocurrency, right? In terms of volatility, you get 35%, bottom top of that range. If we take a look at this on a weekly scale, right? We had this head and shoulders as a weekly chart, and that's our neckline. Our neckline is this $55 right here in terms of the neckline. So we tested it, right? This is a great long spot, and this is a great short spot up here. Now, understanding that it's kind of tracking like the very dirty tracking of the rough tracking of the Dow Jones. That's what it looks like to me. Because this thing is going sideways, and it's basically going sideways right now within the gap range here. Could probably raise this a little bit, draw parallel channel. There we go. So this one's at near a support. Now let's see what your entry was. Short entry at 47.50. This is a user request. I see what you're trying to do here. Okay. 47.50. Trying to play the breakdown, which hopefully it happens for you on this one play. Stop loss of 51.51. Price target 41.50 to the downside. This is a short request. Something got flipped there, but I'm pretty much can glean what you're trying to do here. Right, just estimate the bottom number. All right, you have a 7% stop loss basically. Will it go all the way down 40%, 12 to 40%? That's kind of questionable. Although that is the measured move of the parallel channel, 14%. So I completely understand what the play you're trying to do here is. Now the question is the market going to push it down that much? So this is actually a very valid play. Only thing I would say is if we try to it's at the 50% right now. So again, the short, this is a breakdown play. It either will work or basically it's not going to, because if it's already down here, right? Usually when I short, I usually try to short the highs. That's what I'm saying. But I understand this is your style. The breakdown play, if it happens, need that strong momentum. When it's like this, right, it could have downward momentum, but then when it falls down like this is actually the long zone in terms of the RSI. This is where people go long down here. Hourly, not quite oversold range, so it could be pushed down more into the 618, and then it might bounce up just for a little bit up to 48, and then try to pull back down. But once it gets really oversold on the RSI, it does not always work, but you could see it's oversold, hits that 50%, and then it bounces. That can kind of eat up into somebody's stop loss quite a bit. For example, what's the price marker range here? It's only like 2%, 3%. So it's definitely, there's some wiggle room there. The 5-minute just barely bounced off of that $48 support level. I would be a little cautious of the 15-minute because there's a huge MACD histogram right here. So this thing could bounce up to the long side in the short term, short and medium term, just because it's kind of at the support level. So the breakdown plays, they're always risky because when it's at the support level, some longs will try to defend that. It depends on the market and the market conditions of this company. This is kind of a small company, and maybe not everybody's trading this one, but it would give more confidence if you have like just a little bit more breakdown. right? It's been fiddling around here a little bit. And you can see the daily is also building a potential reversal signal. It just kind of takes some time, 2 to 4 weeks. So just something to watch out for is if it doesn't really break down at all, like maybe the short might not happen. Depends on the Dow Jones as well. If the Dow Jones actually recovers and starts continuing to the upside, oh, fantastic. For longs, this company might follow suit as well. Because if we just look at the correlations, let's say this is beginning of the year 2023, it rallied, pulled back, and went up. Let's look at DIA. Beginning of the year, similar. Rally, pullback, rally. Going back, rally, pullback, rally. So it's very correlated right now. Pullback. Except for maybe right in terms of the DIA, but in terms of the recent pullback down. So sometimes because if the whole market doesn't bounce like on DIA, there are some laggard plays, meaning some late long plays. But this one didn't really get traded that much. So it's a little bit suspicious. But long story short is probably want to wait for the price breakdown. If you want to get in, that's your choice. But again, it's your account, your money. But in terms of there's a gap here. So it's kind of, they're going to fight there a little bit. I'll just watch out for that. Excuse me. Okay, I did XAU USD gold. I did that as soon as you requested, maybe about 30 minutes ago. That was gold. We did it twice on the stream, actually, so you might have to rewind for that one. All right. Does anybody have any more requests, or do you want to see some paper trading, or do you want to see some bar replay? If there are no requests, we'll probably just close out the stream. I'll just wait for about 10 or 15 seconds right here for any response. Okay, looks like that's going to do it for today's stream. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching and following and requesting and chatting and sticking around for this stream. I am streaming live on TradingView, YouTube, and Twitch, and we have a Discord group as well. Again, we're trying to build a community of competent analysts, chartists, and traders, so everybody's welcome. And feel free to spread the word to your friends and people you know who are interested in stocks and crypto and charts. That's going to do it for me for today. I will see you next weekend. Let me check the calendar to triple confirm this. Next weekend, most likely on March 12th or March 13th. So thank you so much, everybody. Hope you have a good week, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.